Kilimanjaro, Africa's tallest peak, a beacon of adventure and a bucket list challenge for thrill seekers worldwide. Rising 19,341 feet, 5,895 meters, above the Tanzanian plains, its snow-capped summit and breathtaking landscapes attract tens of thousands of climbers each year. For many, reaching the top of Uhuru Peak is the ultimate achievement, a moment of triumph against nature's raw power. But what if the dream turns into a nightmare? Beneath Kilimanjaro's beauty lies a harsh reality. Altitude sickness, extreme weather, deadly rockfalls, and unpredictable natural disasters. The mountain doesn't care about experience levels underestimated, and the consequences can be fatal. Some climbers never make it back down. Unlike Everest or K2, Kilimanjaro is considered a trekking mountain, meaning almost anyone in decent shape can attempt the climb. No ropes, no harnesses, just a slow, grueling hike to the top. Sounds simple? It isn't. The extreme altitude, shifting terrain, and unpredictable weather can break even the most determined climbers. Standing alone on the Tanzanian plains, Kilimanjaro is made up of 3 volcanic cones. Shira, the oldest, now eroded into a plateau. Mawenzi, rugged and jagged, not part of the standard trekking routes. Kibo, the highest and home to Uhuru Peak. Despite its grandeur, Kilimanjaro is dying. Its glaciers are rapidly disappearing due to climate change. Scientists predict they could be gone within 20 years, making the climb an opportunity to witness a vanishing wonder. Climbing Kilimanjaro is like traveling from the equator to the Arctic in days. The journey begins in a lush rainforest, buzzing with wildlife. As you ascend, the jungle fades into rocky slopes with alien-like plants. Higher up, a barren wasteland of volcanic rock and dust replaces greenery. The summit is an icy desert where every breath is a battle against thin air. The ascent is physically and mentally taxing, with each day bringing new challenges. Climbers must adapt to decreasing oxygen levels, freezing temperatures, and unpredictable weather. One moment, the sun blazes down, and the next, you're caught in a sudden snowstorm. The conditions can shift in minutes, making proper gear and preparation essential for survival. Beyond physical endurance, Kilimanjaro tests a climber's mental strength. Fatigue, isolation, and exhaustion set in, making every step feel heavier. The final push to the summit, typically starting at midnight, is a grueling 6-hour climb in darkness. The cold bites through multiple layers of clothing, and every breath is a struggle. Some climbers question why they started the journey in the first place. But those who push through are rewarded with one of the most breathtaking sights in the world: the sunrise above the clouds at Uhuru Peak. Kilimanjaro offers several routes to the top, each with its own challenges. The meringue route, often called the Coca-Cola route, is the only path with hut accommodations, but its rapid ascent increases the risk of altitude sickness. The Masham route, or whiskey route, is one of the most scenic but physically demanding. The Lemosho route provides a longer, more gradual ascent, improving acclimatization chances. More experienced climbers may opt for the Rongai route, which approaches from the north, or the Western Breach, a more technical and dangerous path with risk of rockfalls. Some climbers prefer the challenge of lesser-known routes, such as the Northern Circuit, which provides a longer and more remote journey with breathtaking views and fewer crowds. Choosing the right route can make the difference between success and failure, and for many, taking extra days to acclimate is essential to avoiding altitude sickness. For some, Kilimanjaro became their final resting place. Gugu Zulu, a celebrated South African rally driver, climbed Kilimanjaro for a charitable cause, but succumbed to altitude sickness despite medical evacuation efforts. Scott Dinsmore, a motivational speaker, was killed by a rockfall while attempting the dangerous Western Breach route. Ian McKeever, an experienced climber, was struck by lightning during a storm on the mountain. Christian Ferguson, seeking to see Kilimanjaro's glaciers before they disappeared, was killed in a sudden rock slide at Arrow Glacier Camp. Altitude sickness is the biggest threat on Kilimanjaro. Oxygen levels drop dramatically as you climb, and if your body doesn't adjust, the results can be fatal. Symptoms start with headaches, dizziness, and nausea. If ignored, they can escalate to life-threatening conditions. HAPE, high-altitude pulmonary. Edema, fluid fills the lungs, causing breathlessness and a persistent cough. HACE, high altitude, cerebral edema. The brain swells, leading to confusion, hallucinations, and loss of coordination. These conditions can become deadly within hours. Many climbers fail to recognize the warning signs until it's too late. This is why professional guides and acclimatization are crucial for a safe ascent. You don't have to fall off a cliff to die on Kilimanjaro. Sometimes, the mountain just takes your breath away, literally. Kilimanjaro sits just 200 miles from the equator, so you'd think it would be warm, right? Wrong. How to prevent altitude sickness? Choose a longer route, 7-9 days instead of 5-6. The more time you take, the better your body adapts. Climb high, sleep low. Gain altitude during the day, but descend slightly before sleeping. Drink 5 liters of water daily. Dehydration worsens altitude sickness. Go slow. Even if you feel strong, rushing can push your body beyond its limits. Recognize symptoms early. Headaches, dizziness, nausea. Stop and descend immediately. Golden rule. If symptoms get worse, descending is the only cure. No summit is worth your life. Kilimanjaro's weather is wildly unpredictable. One moment it's hot and sunny, the next you're fighting through freezing winds and snow. Gear you need to survive. Layered clothing. Base layer, moisture wicking, insulation layer, and outer shell, windproof and waterproof. Gloves and thermal socks. Frostbite is real at high altitudes. Sunglasses and sunscreen. UV exposure is extreme above the clouds. Good hiking boots. Break them in before the climb to avoid blisters. Gaiters. Protect your feet from loose volcanic dust on the descent. Golden rule. Pack for all seasons, because you will experience them all on the way up. Kilimanjaro is not the place to test your ego. Your guides and porters know this mountain better than anyone. They've seen what happens when climbers ignore the risks. This mountain has its own microclimate, meaning you can go from sweating under the tropical sun to freezing in a blizzard within hours. The weather can shift so fast that climbers often start in short sleeves and finish the day wrapped in every layer they brought. Kilimanjaro is more than just a mountain. It holds deep cultural and spiritual meaning. The local Chaga people believe the mountain is sacred, and many climbers describe their experience as transformative. The Tanzanian porters and guides, who assist climbers throughout their journey, offer wisdom, support, and camaraderie, ensuring that trekkers are both physically and mentally prepared for the challenge ahead. Local legends add to Kilimanjaro's mystique. Some believe spirits reside at the summit, watching over those who attempt the climb. Others say the disappearing glaciers are a warning of nature's imbalance, urging humanity to act before it's too late. The mountain has been a symbol of strength, endurance, and perseverance for centuries. Kilimanjaro has also inspired literature, music, and art, with many climbers reporting a spiritual awakening upon reaching the summit. The mountain represents resilience, a force of nature that stands unmoved despite the changes happening around it. Kilimanjaro is breathtaking, but demands respect. Those who make it to the summit and back safely aren't always the strongest. They're the ones who listen to their bodies, follow the rules, and respect the mountain. So, the question remains, would you take on the challenge? Do you have what it takes to push through exhaustion, freezing temperatures, and thin air? Can you respect the mountain enough to know when to turn back and when to keep going? For those who say yes, Kilimanjaro is waiting. But remember, the mountain doesn't care how strong, fit, or determined you are. It will test you, and only those who respect it will make it back down. If you made it this far, I have to ask, did you have fun? Was this the kind of insane, adrenaline-fueled story you love hearing about? If so, consider subscribing. There are plenty more wild mountain stories like this one, and you won't want to miss them.